Animal Crossing is one of the greatest game franchises ever. Their latest game, New Horizons, was released March of 2020 and it became a global phenomenon, with most people calling it the perfect game. Hello everyone and welcome to my secret base. My name is Edster and in today's video I go over how Nintendo could improve Animal Crossing's New Horizons. Please note that I love the game and these are only suggestions. Before we begin, take a few seconds to like, subscribe, and to turn on those notifications. Let's get started. Crafting items is one of the main features of the game because it's usually the easiest way to obtain certain items. Oftentimes you'll find yourself or other people desperately trying to find those precious recipes. I myself have spent quite a long time trying to find some recipes, especially in the early days of the game when everyone was basically at the same level. The biggest problem with crafting is that you can only craft one item at the time, which makes sense for some items. However, some items like fish bait could use an exception because oftentimes when making fish bait, players will be making multiple batches instead of just one or two. Considering that the clams used for fish bait, while not hard, are annoying to get and time consuming. This will greatly improve the experience and can make fishing 10 times as fun with the time it takes to make the bait now added to fishing for a shark and getting a sea bass instead. People take the villagers in their island very serious, and by that I mean people go out their way to get certain villagers, with the market for the most desired villagers being incredibly competitive in the early days of the game. But that's not what I'm going to talk about right now. I'm talking about the number of villagers that you could have on your island and how to get rid of villagers. Let's begin with the number you can have. At the moment, the game allows you to have 10 villagers in your island, which is honestly not bad. Oftentimes that gives you a good enough variety of villagers to interact with. But to some people, including me, I would like to have more villagers. This will help out those searching for certain villagers to have enough space so they don't have to get rid of one that they may be still fond of. And speaking of getting rid of villagers, this is something that needs to be made a bit easier. Right now, the best way to do this is to ignore or hit the villager with a net until it gets mad, and eventually the villager will decide to leave if you catch him at the right time. I'm not sure how they could improve this since there are so many options on how to do this, but it definitely could improve. There are so many ways that the islands could be improved. Let's begin with one of the simplest ways to do this, and that is to increase the number of special buildings. I will begin with an expansion to Nook's Cranny so that we can get more items on a daily. Other stores that I would love to see is the return of the cafe, perhaps inside of the museum. Maybe get a store for Leaf to sell plants and flowers and certain tools. Same for Sahara. This will make the life of a lot of people who love to change the look of their home a lot easier. Another thing that I would love to see is an island expansion. In this video, I have already talked about adding more villagers and stores. Certainly, the biggest reason these have not been done is due to, well, not being enough space on the island. This will solve that problem. And not only that, depending on how much the island is expanded, it will allow for even more villagers and stores than I suggested. This will also make it easier for those sharing an island, which is actually brings me to allowing multiple islands per switch. This is probably one of the most annoying things about the game, especially if you're a parent with 2 kids, because most likely there's always an argument on whose islands is it, and the who gets to do what must be an endless argument. They don't have to go all out for this, but allowing at least one more island will solve a lot of problems and enhance the experience for many people tenfold. Well, that is all for this week. What else do you think Nintendo could do to improve Animal Crossing? Would you like to have more villagers in your island? Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to take a look at the videos on the screen right now and like me on Facebook. The link is in the description. Signing off is Edster and this is my secret base. See ya!